Good morning and happy Saturday. How you doing today? Hope that you had a decent week. This week has been anything but decent in so many ways that I can't get into. But I'm just wishing everybody viewing this very, very well. The question on the thumbnail is why stockpile food? Well, let's just say this life can change at a moment's notice. And I'm not even talking about like the huge, huge, big, big stuff. I'm talking about even things like sudden job loss that could happen out of nowhere, and you could be the best worker in the world and still find yourself facing that type of an issue. And that is not fun. That's why combining the idea of stockpiling your food, your groceries, little by little, like the squirrels do before they get ready for winter. I always say this, if squirrels could get ready, why can't we? Let's just think about that for a second. They're smart enough to get ready in little, small increments so that when need be, the stuff is there. Just never know. And it doesn't have to be a huge, huge incident to make things change. Also, for whatever the reason, sometimes unexpected larger bills come in that might throw you off that month. And even if you're a careful planner, sometimes that funding is not there. But if you don't have to go to the grocery store, for example, that week, well, you might have just saved $100 that you could put toward that unexpected expense. That's why it's good to remain flexible. It's good to remain vigilant. And it's good to do things little by little in manageable baby bites. The same thing goes for savings. This is why I really push the envelope, and even everywhere with Steve Young 74, both of us together, we push the envelope somewhat with that dollar a day plus more or more savings. Doesn't have to just be $1 a day and end it at the $31. If you want to put away $50 that month, what you can do is make it your business to save up to 50. You may end up with 60. Once you start saving and you get the hang of it, you're going to get to enjoy it almost as if a game. I do believe that everybody has to have a beginning. And sometimes people might have tried to save a while back, maybe once or twice, or even 3 times, and it didn't work out the way they wanted to. So what happens is people get discouraged. But by building a little by little type of savings, but consistently, that's the key. And you could apply that same theory to stockpiling groceries. It is more important now than ever that we can. We could see, obviously, that things could change at a moment's notice. It could be great 1 minute, and then shockingly, surprisingly, not so great the next minute. Be ready in life. Always be prepared. Even if you start small. Starting small is better than not starting at all. It's a fun thing too to watch your stockpile grow. It's also a comfort and a security somewhat to know that that food is there. Those groceries are there for whenever. Like I said, one never predicts losing a job. Sometimes you might get a feeling things are shaking up at the company you're working for, but until it actually happens, you don't know for sure. And like I said before, you could be the best worker on planet Earth and things can happen. Don't forget too, unexpected medical expenses. We never know when that's going to happen. Nobody sends a written invitation and says to you, oh, by the way, in 2 weeks, you're absolutely going to have this medical emergency. Oh, absolutely, in 1 month, you're going to lose your job. Very rarely have I ever heard anyone receiving such an invitation like that, such a notice ahead of time. That's why when things are, well, quote, end of quote, quieter, that's the time to squirrel in your money. And even people on a low income or a fixed income can save. Anyone who thinks that that is not possible, that's not correct at all. It's just about the method. It's the method. And of course, there goes the bird clock. Would it be a video without one? It's the idea of being prepared. Always be prepared. And it doesn't have to start big. And you don't have to have tons of room. And never, ever, ever, and this is really important, don't compare where you're at with stockpiling groceries to where someone else is at. Someone else may have been doing this for a long time or might have been born into families that naturally did this. Some of us had to learn how to do this. I'll never forget Superstorm Sandy when people were laughing at people like my mom and myself who were squirreling food away for the 2 weeks. We kept getting warnings and warnings on TV about this horrible storm. So for the 2 weeks prior, my mom and I, almost on a daily basis, went to our local market and we picked up groceries little by little, so we weren't overwhelmed with a whole bunch of groceries. But every day for 2 weeks, I'll never forget this, we squirreled away our groceries because you know what? We rather had erred on the side of caution. And I'm so glad that we did this. Because what happened was, it wasn't so much that the actual storm, like the water part or anything, we weren't living in a flood zone, okay? At that point, we were not living in a flood zone. So in that way of it, didn't affect us. What did affect us was an unexpected power outage. And that's another reason to have a stockpile. You never know when you're going to get a power outage. You're not going to get an invitation from your local electric company. 2 weeks from now, you will have a power outage. I don't think so. But we were ready. In fact, we weren't supposed to really get much of anything other than, the residual part of the storm. But that night, the wind was so bad, it knocked something out in Midtown in the middle of the city, and it knocked out the transformer. So, oh my word. So that knocked us out of the loop for almost practically a week. And the first few days without power seems cute, novel. I know it sounds weird, but different, novel. Oh, it's like going out camping, right? Oh, I could do it. I got it covered. By day 3 or day 4, it gets kind of old. And people are getting frustrated. And by the way, just for the record, the same people who laughed at my mom and I going to the grocery store every day, squirreling our stuff away, were pretty much the same people that kind of needed help because they didn't have groceries. What happened was the year before, we had a similar advice that a similar storm was going to come our way. There was really a storm, but it bypassed the New York area. So people laughed, ha, 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 he, he, ho, ho, ho. What was the big funny part there? So what? If you overbought, so what? At least your stockpile was building. But if you underbought, you were not ready, if you were not prepared. And that's precisely exactly what happened, because I literally did get a knock on the door. Some of you might have heard me mention this before, but if you're new to the channel, I'm just saying someone did knock on the door and needed food that week because they were one of the people that laughed. So these are the reasons we stockpile. Anyway, so nice to see you. Thank you for stopping by. And I really do appreciate every single one of you. Have an amazing, fantastic remainder of the weekend. And don't forget, little by little, 2 things. Stockpile your groceries, even if you spend $5 a week on stuff that you actually use, okay? And $1 a day plus some. Continue on and save every single month. You just never, ever know. Low-income people could save, seniors could save, people on fixed incomes can save. It's just a little bit smaller and it'll take a little bit longer, but it is entirely possible. And then when you hit a certain goal, just think you could take that money and put it into a high interest account. There you go. Why not? Have a great day.